Let's go. Good morning, folks. Energy. Let's go. Yeah, apologies, people. I didn't make it back before the theme tune was done, but I hope everyone's doing well and safe. People deluded, I'm back again. First things first, if you like myself over here in the UK, good morning. Elsewhere, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. I hope everyone's doing well and safe. I hope everyone's had a great week last week. Ready for this week, and obviously in between that had a fantastic weekend. I know from an Arsenal perspective, depending on how you look at the management or the ownership of this team, you've seen the LA Rams win the Super Bowl, big up them, and whatnot. You've seen other teams drop points, and it keeps Arsenal's top four hopes in good stead. And then obviously it is what it is. Arsenal didn't play, so we didn't lose, and it's been a great week of football weekend. Obviously Everton and under Lampard, smacked up Leeds. Newcastle versus Villa was an interesting game, despite not really the most amount of goals. As I just mentioned with Everton, Chelsea have become world champions. We did a watch along for that. They beat Palmeiras, if you didn't know already, or you've been missing for the last whatever. Man United dropped points against Southampton. Tottenham, my words, I watched the highlights. Bloody hell. First 20 minutes, I don't know what was going on. And from Hugo Lloris in particular, I don't know. He must be a double agent. As soon as he got his new deal, he just cut, man. Best weekend of memory. I don't know, man. That's a good shout, Josh, but I don't know, I actually don't know. A weekend. Yeah, maybe in my personal life, I've had some lit weekends from Friday all the way to depending on where you want the weekend to end. Did it Wednesday or something? But I don't know from a footballing point of view. I really don't. I know it's the title of this stream and whatnot, and I go live at 11:30 to speak Arsenal more in depth. People over there on YouTube, but I don't know how Arsenal have suddenly woken up and become the favourites for top four. Don't get it twisted. I like the fact that Arsenal at least in the conversation in relation to top four, and this is all I wanted. Obviously, I want to get top four ultimately and things, but honestly, when did Arsenal die and become top four the favourites? Because obviously, I'm seeing talk among the papers. Fans are gonna be optimistic, but fans are, fans. It's not that I'm critiquing them for it, because obviously you can only live or die by results. But it seemed like chances were shut down after the draw against Burnley. Now people are, very optimistic after seeing what other teams have done and whatnot. And don't get it twisted. There's reasons to be optimistic. We called for Arsenal for seasons to be in with a fight. You don't get points for being in a fight. You don't get trophies for being in for a fight. But we demanded Arsenal be in for a fight. And in February, you have what you can in it. Spurs are dropping points. Conte looks like he's losing his hair. Man United are still dropping points. But at the end of the day, man, nobody's out of it. For all the noise, and I'll expand on it in a sec, but for all the noise, nobody's made ground. Nobody's moved ahead of everyone. Arsenal have games in hand. But as you've seen with other things, games in hands doesn't necessarily correlate to actual points on the board. And as much as I'm happy that other people have dropped points, Wolves are still in the mix. Spurs are still in the mix. United are still in the mix just by looking at the Premier League table, people. Again, obviously everybody plays 38 games. That's the key thing for me, people. First things first. We're still sixth. We've got 2 games in hand on United. We've got 3 games in hand on West Ham. West Ham, by the way, are in pole position. I don't know how I've seen Arsenal pole position. If you're in a race, if you're in pole position, you're first in it. You're the favourite to win the race, unless it's you saying, well, it's whoever's leading. Arsenal's not leading. If you're fourth, you're the favourites. You're a target on your back. And West Ham, even when they've dropped points, they've been carrying that. They are the favourites. As much as United dropped points, West Ham salvaged the point. Arsenal didn't play this weekend, but we did our job against Wolves. Wolves beat Spurs. There's not too much. There's not too much. Spurs are on 36. Wolves are on 37. Arsenal on 39. United are on 40 points. For all the noise, we're only 3 points off Spurs with a game in. We've played the same amount of games. We've got 2 games in hand on United, which need to be realised. But we're on 39 points. And again, obviously, I'm not trying to belittle it or water it down now. We're at that point. There's 16 games left to play for one. There's 16 games left, Arsenal are not going to win all those games. What I like about seeing other people drop points and us taking points is obviously when the balance of things shifts, it gives you a little bit of room to maneuver. Not that anyone can really afford to drop points, you know. So again, I like the optimism, but we're not favourites for it. You know, West Ham are. They've got, you know, West Ham have been better than us for 12 months. You know, they're in a better health. They're all singing from the same hymn sheet for David Moyes. Can't really say that with United. It seems like there's a lot of dramas going on at that club, on and off the field. You've got Ranić. Arsenal's very volatile again. And for Arsenal specifically, I look at who's going to be our talisman, who's going to raise their performances. I don't think we have enough actual goal scorers. You know, people are developing, but we ain't got enough goal scorers. I don't know what I'm getting game in, game out from Arsenal. So 16 games to me is complete madness. As much as I think we're in with a fight, obviously we haven't really got an edge on other people, with exception to our young players. We ain't got experience on people, we ain't got talisman on people. We're betting a couple of injuries can change things. You know, it is what it is in that regard. So we're still in with a shout. And that's before you even talk about Arsenal's games that we have to play. You can't, you know, we should have beat Burnley. And for me, it puts the Everton away, United away, where you should have at least got a point, 2 point, you know, 2 games where you drop points away from home against winning from winning positions. Brighton, we was never in it away from home. Burnley's 2 points dropped. And obviously, you know, there's a couple of games this season where we could have done a lot better and whatnot, people, where we've dropped silly points, really. As I said, off the top of my head, Crystal Palace at home, Everton away, Burnley away, definitely these sort of, and I've said a couple of others. Burnley at home, sorry, not Burnley away, Brighton away. We've dropped dumb points, and we are going to drop more silly points realistically. Especially, you know, we've got a young son, and that's without talking about the games Arsenal have to come, man. You still got to play a North London derby. You still got to play United at home, which these are, on the best of days, 6-pointers. These are arguably 12-pointers now, because you can start to eliminate people away from things. You've still got to welcome Liverpool. We've still got to go away to Crystal Palace, go away to St. Mary's, play Brighton, teams that throw spanners in the works against us typically. We've still got to play Wolves, and they're making a big song and dance. So we do have a chance, but we're not the favourites. I don't know what's woken up and made us the favourites. Yes, we're playing once a week and all these things, but we've gone around this before. You know what we're in a good position. Keep calm, do what you need to do. When you drop points, forgive yourself. When you win, take time in it, really. But I don't know. I don't know where it's come from that we're favourites. I do like that we're in with a shout. I do like how we have an opportunity. We have to finish within that top 4, top 6 category, or it's a season of failure, really and truly. You know, game in hand are not realized points. People need to take into account that our game in hand is Chelsea. So do people expect us to beat them? It's not necessarily Chelsea. Who's the favourites? The favourites are the people in 4th, bro. West Ham, they're 4th. Like, and they're looking at, you know, when you look at Arsenal, Spurs, West Ham specifically, they're in a good health. United, there's things off the field. Arsenal, there's things off the field. Spurs, there's things on and off the field. They're the only team singing from the same hymn sheet. 2 points dropped yesterday, of course, but I don't understand it. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone out there. Tons right back at you, Frankie, Josh. I definitely ain't wishing the man them happy Valentine's Day, but you lot, you know, morning to you lot as well, isn't it? Really and truly. April will be every game's a massive game. It sounds cliche. Every game's a cup final, and obviously, you know, Arsenal's a bit volatile. Again, we're at that point in the season where man need assurances from players, and respectfully, what players can you look at and say there's assurances? Saka, Martinelli, Smith Rowe, when available, them and there can be relied upon, but they're young tugs. This is the point of the season where I need experienced players. I don't know what I'm going to see from Xhaka and Partey in particular. They went through the motions in the game against Wolves, better periods and worse periods. You know, all the experienced players, it's not just them. Lacazette, obviously, we know minimum work rate, all of that stuff. I don't know what I'm going to get. So this is the point of the season where you're looking for a talisman. We ain't got a goal scorer that can just drag us through games like you've seen, you know, at this point in the season. We ain't really got a talisman, a guy with an X factor that can make the difference, with exception to the young players. We've still got a young and naive squad susceptible to mistakes. From an Arsenal perspective, the thing that worries me is we're betting on a lot, you know. Playing once a week, no injuries, no suspension, no loss of form. Obviously, shout out someone like Cedric, for example, and holding off the bench against Wolves. But how many times, for as much as they slotted in holding off the bench in Cedric, have we looked out of place? And we have probably a first choice 11 by default. I say a first choice 9, and Again, 16 games, there's many different narratives. A week's a long time in football. Every club that I've listed, worst thing ever when they win. Best thing ever. Spurs gone from talking about Arsenal bottled playing them and Conte this and that. Conte's unbeaten in the league. And again, some of them games results weren't correlating with performance. He's lost 3 games in 13 for the first time in his managerial career. And Spurs, as much as I would pay me, everyone is still in the top 4 race. Reality is, everyone's got 38 games played in it, people. And we're over 10, like I said, 16 games. 16 games, however much points. My maths is poor to be working that out mentally. That's how much points are up for grabs. So everybody's win for a shout. The favourites are West Ham because they're 4th. You know, as much as man talk about United, and it's a L from the last 2 games from United, and in their last 3 games, 3 draws, they're a point away from West Ham. So what does that say when you look at away from the narrative and you look at what's actually what? Who is favourites? I'm not saying Arsenal you can't make reasons for Arsenal, all these teams to be favourites, but pole position, favourites, it's just not true, is it? Like it's actually not true, really. And I would say, for me, I would like Arsenal to not be favourites because you've got a target on your back. I want the narrative to stay with West Ham, and then hopefully we can do our job. The position you're in, you need to be getting top 4 to top 6, like I said, and it's a fight there. West Ham are there. Wolves have brought themselves in the mix, 37 points. Spurs are on 36. To be fair, Brighton, in the last 5 games, they've had 3 draws and 2 victories. If they pattern that, they're in with a shout, really. Nobody's made ground on anyone. The only person that's made ground is Chelsea. They're 6 points clear of West Ham, with a game in hand. Liverpool irrelevant from this top 4 shout, but there's that. Just a few months ago, Granit Xhaka was sat here and speaking about catching Liverpool and Chelsea. So I know the players want it, but it is what it is. And as you've seen, unpopular opinion, but in the last few sort of years, top 4's come down to who bottles it the least. It's just everybody seems to be bottling it. West Ham bottled the chance to make ground. Where again, Arsenal fan, I'm kind of laughing. We beat Wolves. Wolves kind of did everybody a favor beating Spurs. You hope everyone can lose. United dropping points, but what happens next week if we fuck up? Pardon my French, against Brentford, then things change. Like I said, we're on 39 points. I don't want it to be the case, but in the next Premier League game that is played, I know everyone's played the same amount of games, but if Spurs take 3 points from their next game, Wolves and United take 3 points from their next game, and we lose, Arsenal are sat 6th at this moment in time on 39 points. What does that say? So we need to be wary of an ever-changing narrative and things. I get it, excitement. It makes it's the biggest talk, realistically. Between this, I'd say the top 4 race is probably the most exciting thing happening in the Premier League right now. And the relegation race, really and truly, no one's excited with the league. City's thing in it, and you saw them rub out Norwich. Liverpool, I won't say valiantly trying to catch them. I mean, 54 points to City 63. You can still catch that, but yeah, it looks like them and they are gone, really and truly. It looks like City are in their own world, Liverpool in their own world. Chelsea are 6 points clear of 3rd, and I'd say clearing 3rd with a game in hand. I would say they're in their own world, but Chelsea always draw themselves out at times and make things harder than it needs to be. But I'd say Liverpool, City's in their own league. Then you've got Liverpool and Chelsea. They're in their own world. Chelsea maybe could catch Liverpool if they're on that. And then it's West Ham, United, Arsenal, Wolves, Spurs. You see, even Brighton. It's about 6 teams. Even Southampton, they put a decent little run of form together in the last couple of games. They're on 29 points. Obviously, I'm reaching, they're 10 points behind us, but you never know what could happen. And I know the talk is about top 4, top 6 right now. If the league finished, I'm not saying I'm happy, but Arsenal are happy. And to be fair, based in August, I don't like the word happy, but we'd be top 6, a point behind United. That is what the club want. I think the players want top 4. I don't think the club, and specifically those above Arteta, I think they're scared to get top 4. I think they're scared to overachieve. And I wouldn't say that's the case of if Wolves got into it, West Ham got it respectfully, it is what it is with that. So again, we just have to take things going, man. You just have to see what's going on. Nah, deluded. West Ham bubbles will burst. They don't play good football. So, but it is what it is. I hope so. But 25 games played, they're 4th. They are the favourites. Like, they're 4th right now. They are the favourites. They've been 4th for a significant period of time. They're in pole position. You can say they're not gonna make it, but you can't see like I said, if it's a race, the favourite is the guy who's first. You can't say someone lost unless it's Usain Bolt with the slow run up is there. It's crazy. So I'm not saying they can't bottle. Narratives and sentiments are gonna change. Arsenal have held on to 4th at a period messed up. So we'll have to see, man. Morning right back at you. We'll have to see. I say Spurs and Arsenal. To be fair, I had United up until the last 2 weeks. I still pick United probably to do it. I'd say if I had the bigger favourite, I'd say West Ham. Well, both the United clubs in West Ham United and Manchester United. That doesn't mean I don't want Arsenal to do it, but yeah, man. Yeah, the issue is the games in hand, but Arsenal won't capitalize on them. I reckon United will squeeze into fourth. Again, no matter how many teams, other teams drop points, you need to take your game. Feel like that game against United in April will be massive. It is, man. Every game's a massive one. Arsenal fans too emotional. So our first win in 2022, and now we're favourites. Excitement. And then they'll be not saying they're right or wrong, but then man, start saying something completely different. It's very dangerous to live week in, week out. Got to take every game as it comes, but it's very dangerous changing the dynamics and the sentiment and all of these sort of things. But yeah, man, I like what Arsenal are doing. Again, other teams drop points, favourable things are happening for us, but things can change very quickly in football. There's 16 games left. We will not win them all. We've got a lot of tough games to come. Just off the top of my head, I tried to write them down before this live stream. Wolves, Southampton, Brighton, Palace, Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs, and then, but even Newcastle away is going to be difficult. Them man are trying to fight in the league, new owners. You saw how difficult when the crowd are making noise, how it was how it was for Villa yesterday as well. So, boy, we'll have to see. We will have to see. All Arsenal need to do is just keep working, and hopefully things will fall into place. Favourable things will fall into place. Oh yeah, man, and obviously Stan Kroenke's won the Super Bowl. You're hoping that that could inspire him to win something for Arsenal, really and truly. But I wouldn't hold my breath on that one. So it is what it is. Hit the like button if you have not done such already, folks. Man said hit the like button. Make sure you're following and subscribing. Do hit the like button on my YouTube live stream, though. Obviously, where you talk about everybody else, Conte sounds stressed and vexed. But before we get into that, what do you think of Conte, DG? Feel like he escapes criticism every time Spurs lose? I know the team is trash, but surely he should be having them playing better by now. But hey, I feel you to a degree. On one hand, I think the man's not a miracle worker. You're seeing what Hugo Lloris is doing. You're seeing what Ben Davies is doing. You're seeing what Doherty's been doing. You're seeing Emerson. Even Oiberg a couple games ago. Their Spurs' squad ain't good enough. There's a lot of bozos. Son's had some injuries. Kane's out. Bentacle's been a decent addition, but has to develop. They just haven't got enough quality. He's not a miracle worker, and I can see Conte getting frustrated with it because, you see Conte on the best of days, man will keep it moving if things aren't happening. I don't think he can get much more of a tune out of them players, but and he keeps it real. I think he's really trying. They're just bozos, really. At the end of the day, you're right, though. No one put a gun to his head to take this job. There is no woe is me. He took the role. So I do think you've got to do that. I did think there'd be a bit more of a mentality sort of monster thing from Conte. And it feels like just the other couple of weeks ago, people were saying Spurs are the ones and all these sort of things. And now it's changed, really. But yeah, man, he's not been helped, if I'm completely honest with you. Conte and a miracle work. He just whips up underperforming teams into winners for a year or two. Spurs are just crap. You can't do anything else. But again, he put himself in that, man. As a Man United fan, I don't see United getting top 4G. I think truthfully, many United fans, Arsenal fans, and definitely Spurs, maybe even if I knew some right now to call some Hammers fans, they're probably all hopeful mathematically, but in their heart, they're passing the buck elsewhere, and I don't blame you, really and truly. How can you really sit there and say United are going to get top 4? They're not showing you anything, Zeeks, on the football field in the last 2 games to show you they're going to capitalize on that. But boy, we'll have to see. Conte sounds stressed. He sounds very stressed. If I'm completely honest with you, where is it? I got hella things up here. Again, shout out to me, man. Let's share the screen and see what's going on. Conte said a couple of things, but this is one I haven't read yet on The Athletic. Black, British, and playing in goal. How can England produce more non-white keepers? Yeah, man. Anyways, away from that, Antonio Conte on Tottenham's defeat to Wolves. You cannot buy the winning mentality. You can't. Yeah, man, you need to do it. And Spurs winning, the jokes make themselves in it. But anyways, in fact, they did win the Arsenal bottled the game against them trophy. Shout out to Spurs for that one. Sit that one next to your fucking Audi Cup. But anyways, Conte feels that the commitment from his team is not enough after their 2-0 defeat to Wolves. What a frantic opening period that was. I don't know what Lloris was on, bugging out. To be fair, the second goal he's done, I think Davis dirty. Don't know why Davis is trying to play football in that position. There's just too many bozos in the Spurs team. Like there's a mixture with some men are not good enough and they're bozos. Some men are just bozos. Like in the same way I look at Chelsea squad and I say there must be so many. There's players with ability that must frustrate. You know, you can go through them: Lukaku, Werner, Ziyech, Hudson-Odoi, etc., etc. You go through the Spurs team, just a lot of you are shit and bozos. Like Emerson got the bozo gene. Lloris, a good keeper but prone to bozo moments. Doherty when plays. Ben Davis prone to it, you know, and just about anybody else. Emerson Royal, if I haven't said his name, he's probably made enough mistakes this season to account for everybody's thing, really. Tottenham have lost their last 3 Premier League games, their worst run of form since Antonio Conte was appointed head coach in November. Wolves have moved ahead into 7th place in the league above Tottenham Hotspur, courtesy of Jimenez and obviously Dendonko. And these lot are going to be on smoke when they return back to North London. You know, again, I don't know why Wolves are trying to beef us. We don't know you. But anyways, the problem is that you cannot buy the winning mentality. You transfer it day by day. It is not sure that day by day, because there are players that are more open and they understand the process quickly. Other players need more time to understand this winning mentality, in my opinion. Means when you play, I am ready to kill you to live, which is true. This is the difference. And he spoke about his team previously needing to be a bit more mature and all these things. This is the difference in every duel, every second ball, every set piece. When you show better desire than your opponent, when you understand the defeats have to hurt you a lot, not a little. This is not simple. We are trying a lot to try and improve in many aspects. We know after when we lost to Mora, then I said we had to work a lot and maybe we had to try and improve because there are a lot of situations to improve. Compare the past and compare the season when this team reached the final of the Champions League. A lot of things have changed. Wow, really? Now in this moment, we have to be realistic and we have to be together. Also with our fans have to understand that maybe you need to have patience to rebuild again and the situation they used to in the past. We are working very hard with the players. There is great commitment, but it's not enough. It's not enough. I repeat that if we want to be competitive, we have to wait and build step by step. It's important to be realistic and speak very clearly. I like to do this, and this is not the first time I'm telling you the same thing. This is not the first time. So, bro, that sounds like someone that's telling you in a very nice political way, bro. These men are rubbed, you know, on top of just being bad players. They make bad decisions. They're bad thinkers. They're not mentality monsters, which can make average players do bits, but it's not the case, really. And scrolling all the way down, sorry people, if I go back to Sky Sports again, I had to go from Google Chrome Safari to Google Chrome again. You know, when you lose 2 games at home and against Chelsea, for a team that want to qualify for the Champions League, it's impossible to happen. We know we have to fight to build something important with the situation, but it's important to know the situation. Maybe our fans shouldn't be disappointed with the defeat. Instead, they should try and push us and stay behind us. The players need to find the right atmosphere and feel no pressure about a target that in this moment you can't reach. I've been saying this since my arrival. My man's getting the white flag and dashing it. Again, I think we said this. We need to be realistic and together. Yeah, I think we said that already. He's working hard and all of these things. To describe the defeat is difficult. It was one of the best games we've played. We created a lot of chances to score. We had possession, but it's also difficult to explain how we started by conceding 2 goals. It's difficult to comment on the 2 goals we conceded. It's not easy when you start the game in this way. Until the end, we pushed and tried to score. Man, are talking. Well, Conte is talking about pushed and tried, and defeat isn't that deep, bro. My man is telling you the Spurs thing is rubbed. And depending on what happens in the summer, can you see him resigning a renewal and whatnot? So it's looking brazy, he said, but we are now talking about another defeat. We'll continue to work and we have to struggle every time we play to get 3 points. And it's true. I hear what he's saying. He's basically saying players are not dying to win. You know, it's not the be all and end all. And sometimes it takes time to install that. Sometimes you can't engineer that fight really and truly. The environment is used to playing for 4th place and Champions League, but now I think everyone has to realize something has changed compared to the past. We have to know this. I'm doing everything to improve the situation. The environment has to understand our position in this moment. I mean, is this something that's the same? Well, yeah, Conte is called for lower expectations. So he's basically echoed what we've just read, people. So yeah, that one there is a bit brazy. I don't know why the screen's not stopping. What are you lot saying? What are you lot saying? Hella comment. As long as you have Ronaldo, you have a chance. I don't think Borgia will be sold by Chelsea to Arsenal, but we'll cover that at 11:30. Make sure you're there. That's on YouTube again. Let's slap that in the comments. Even if you can't be there, slap the like button. One love to the 5 people now, 6 including myself, who have done that on YouTube. So yeah, away from that, that's Conte. His heart's bleeding, in it. Obviously, where the other Premier League action is, people. If we talk about current results that happened over the weekend, as you know, Liverpool, courtesy of Fabinho, Van Dijk did quite well defensively. Got over the line against Burnley, a 0-0. Burnley's a difficult ground to go against, as United saw in midweek or whatever. Newcastle defeated Aston Villa a 0-0. I did think Aston Villa in the second half hit back, but they just couldn't cope with the atmosphere, really. Callum Chambers again gives away a free kick, which initially is given as a penalty, where he brought down a former teammate in Joe Willock, and it's a fantastic goal by Trippier. Of course, Buendia's deflection, but what's that, 2-2 for Kieran Trippier? I could be capping. Unfortunately for Trippier, I think he left the game on crutches, so I don't know what that means for Eddie Howe and his, fight to stay in the league. We all, courtesy of obviously YouTube, together, people, we watched a 4-goal thriller between Leicester and West Ham. Leicester and Bottling, they give Spurs a run for their money. I don't think either team can complain. I think the game was different, but there's many similarities between the 3-3 between Villa and Leeds. Both teams got themselves back into it, had a period where they were dominating. Drop my water, people. Apology. Had a period where they're dominating and ultimately did nothing really. Craig Dawson has saved West Ham's blushes. Bowen continues his goal scoring record, and my FPL team's been doing all right. I as much as I said I wasn't looking at it, I had Jota, Bowen, someone else, Ward Prowse, a couple of other people who were doing dirt. Shout out to Pereira. It's also nice to see him score. He's been given a tough time with injuries, and Telemans didn't have the best of games, but obviously stepped up, took the penalty and bagged. But I think both teams, 4 goals in the game, the 2 goals from both teams that they conceded could have been better. We've just spoken about Wolves defeating Spurs 2-0. And like I said, Newcastle United and Liverpool won a 0-0 in their fixtures. On Saturday, you saw Raheem Sterling get a hat-trick and Manchester City demolish Norwich. I don't think it tells the full story, because I did feel in the first 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes, literally until the goals came, I think Norwich could have taken the lead and done stuff, but didn't take their chances. Raheem Sterling gets a hat-trick, folding on the score sheet. Business as usual when Manchester City are concerned. Again, Norwich have been improving in terms of form. This was probably one of the fixtures they quote-unquote said's a write-off, really and truly. So, Raheem Sterling hat-trick, folding involved as well. Brighton defeated Watford 2-0. Webster and a good finish by Mupé saw them defeat Brighton. Brighton defeat Watford. That's 2 teams probably going down, not getting vital 3 points or a point. Everton smacked up Leeds, to be fair, and they absolutely demolished them. Iwobi looked like a man inspired. It looks like he's heard all my criticisms. Gordon got a goal and assist. He had a good game. Everton just ran riot, if I'm completely honest. They blew Leeds out the water, and Leeds are very kind of bipolar, really. Sometimes they're elite, sometimes they're quite poor, and anytime you lose 3-0, it's an L. Now, we all saw United versus Southampton. Big up the Twitch gang. You was all there. We spoke about it. Happy to see Jadon Sancho. I think in the last 3 games I've seen, they dropped points at Burnley. They dropped points today. Well, I say today, dropped points against Southampton, and they went out against Borough. He's finding his feet. He's doing well. Ultimately, it's not being spoken about and stuff. But as I said, I don't like how Jadon Sancho was written off after 6 months in the Premier League. Obviously, we have a laugh and a joke agendas, but a lot of conclusions being drawn on a young man, which he was never going to bang straight away. It was never going to happen. Van der Beek had a good game, man. He's a confidence player. He looked very good, Van der Beek, and he's a confidence player. Lampard bigged him up. They're the sort of guys. That's why probably it was obviously there's many reasons as to why it didn't work at United. But I think one thing that goes against him, he looks like he always needs to be told he's special, or not in a bad way, but you've got players that can get on with it, players that sometimes you need to put an arm around, but there seems like players where every day you've got to tell them. And I think Van der Beek looks a bit like, what's the word, man? Like insecure. Maybe it's just, who wouldn't be insecure in their abilities? You're not playing in it really, or you wasn't playing. But yeah, Van der Beek had a good game. Obviously, where United are concerned, Che Adams has been spoiling things. It was terrible from United in all aspects. It's the same old. McTominay was poor. There's an imbalance in midfield. I'm seeing Cristiano Ronaldo, a 33-year-old one, dropping on the halfway line. Rashford got an assist, but I think he was poor. I think the only ones that look like they were on this at United is De Gea by default, and obviously Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba, he had a very good game. Bruno, anonymous. I think United have the same problems in terms of build-up players, Arsenal, and that all their attacking players are dropping into silly positions. The defense was all over the place for the goal, and it just in general, ran ragged. Borgia and Maguire, I think they both had stamps on players, so I don't know how they got away with it. I don't know. A lot of United fans were saying, Lindelof should have started, and to be fair to you, probably wouldn't have made a difference because United look calam, but to be fair, I don't know how Maguire played because Maguire's just getting twisted up by basic things. Borgia had a good game. Walker Peters had a good game. I feel United should have won, really. Southampton played very emotional and very naive. There was a high line. They were getting caught 3 versus 3 many times. United just didn't kill the game, really. And they were just poor. It's the same old systemic issues, really. Any United fan can, if just as me looking at it, I feel sorry for De Gea because nothing else a man could do. Sancho did what he could, but there's nothing he could do. Pogba did what he could. Nothing he could do. I felt sorry for Ronaldo, but again, anonymous, just problematic, really, really and truly. And Maguire's form is that when you're a poor player and you're not in form, and sometimes you have to play someone into form, but sometimes when a player's meaty, you need to take them out of the firing line. But for me, it doesn't look like United playing that back line. There's problems defensively. There's just structural problems all over the pitch. It's just names being thrown on a team sheet. They've hired a set piece coach and they look vulnerable from defensive set pieces. I don't think United have scored from one statistically. I could be wrong in that regards. United just, again, apart from random flurries where they might put the game away, it just looks like self-inflicted mistakes. I'd say McTominay looked out of his depth. Bruno Fernandes just very wasteful. Rashford's decision-making toilet. Pogba decent. Ronaldo anonymous. Varane having to hold people's hands. And to be fair, when you're playing with shit, man, you turn shit as well. You start doing shit things. You start getting collapsed as well. Take nothing away. I think the goal, every one of that back line was just terrible on their own back and how they're talking with their midfield, regardless of how much I rate Varane. Like I said, the only ones I'd feel sorry for is Pogba, Sancho, and De Gea. You're the only ones that look like he's on this balling thing from the start. Shout out to Southampton because they remain, they were fighting, they were doing what they was doing, and they're doing all right, really. Again, I think when I look at certain statistics, Southampton's form, they've been winning some big games and getting points in big games. They got a draw against City, a draw against United, taking 4 points off Spurs, beat West Ham. They've had a good run. One loss in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 last 7 games. Apparently, they have a £24 million net spend in the last 3 years, and they're 10th in the league. So Hasenhüttl was doing something right, but yeah, man, it is what it is, and yeah, man, it just seems like United have become a football club just filled with dramas and things like that. I know Ralph Rangnick has said he wants United to become more aggressive and more nasty. I mean, if Ferguson ever heard that, the whole club is going to get swindled up from top to bottom. I think I've got nothing to do with United. I'm somewhat happy, but bro, that's something that was almost a given. So it's a bit of a madness. Even Hasenhüttl is coming out and saying United are not the best team in terms of pressing. So it is what it is. The first half, they have shown, this is Hasenhüttl. It's not a big secret that when they lose the ball, that the reverse gears are not always the best from everyone. The first half, they've shown that they can play well against the ball. They had some good ball wins, but the longer the game was going on, the more they are cheating than in the first line. Then you can play over this first line and you have space then, and you have the chance to create something, and this is what we did. So again, this is what Hasenhüttl has said, people. So, bro, that's brazen. It's a year on from when United pumped, absolutely smoked at Old Trafford, the Saints 9-0. And they had chances to wrap up their game. It's just becoming filled with dramas. And, I'd say they're still with a season to fight. They're still in Europe and things, but the new manager, whether it's Poch, who's being linked with moves away, or Ten Hag or whatever, they need to get it done. Really, really and truly. Like it's a brazy one. It's a madness, really, and I do think Ralph Rangnick has put his mark on the team per se. I do think there's been some improvement, but you have to be able to differentiate improvement and improvement that's good enough, really and truly. So it's all collapse, really. It's absolutely collapse, really. And I mean, it's nothing to do with me. So it is where it is firmly in that regards. Premier League. Yeah. Like I said, narratives and all these things can change very quickly. I think it has to be Ten Hag. They're lazy. United statistically run the least. Boy, and that's like, boy, I can't lie. You don't get praised for running around. But when Ralph Rangnick is talking about aggression, you're saying people are not running. Boy, Ferguson is crazy, man.
If we get Champions League next season, what 3 players would you sign in the summer? Not a clue, really. Not a clue. I don't know, man. I really don't know. I would love to. I'm not giving up on the Hossamawa one. I do like the look of Jonathan David these days now. And if you asked me yesterday, I would have had a bag of names for you. If I could, Karim Adeyemi, but he's going Dortmund, innit? Really. English players getting guaranteed starts and play only for commercial reasons. Boy, when I see Tyrell Mings, I have to wonder that, because you look at Villa, it's another week where the defenders are collapsed. This is why I don't want Declan Rice. I don't think I caught why you don't want him. Bit harsh. Chelsea have some mad talent on loan this season they can use next season. I can't lie. Who would realistically get in? I think Billy Gilmore on ability, but I'd say Conor Gallagher and Borgia, the ones off the top of my head, they've been making so much noise that you can't really not. And we're going to speak about Borgia a bit at 11:30, so is what it is. Always peak for Trippier, boy. He's been doing quite well, but riding high in April, shot down in May, such is life. Trippier has broken a bone in his foot and faces a spell on the sidelines. Coutinho and Trippier have been the best Jan signings, in my opinion. I mean, it probably is true, but it's like, well, what's the case study really? Like, what's the pool? Arsenal ain't got no one. Who's United saying? It's on the floor, really. I think Bentancur in months to come could show his quality. I know Kulusevski had a golden chance yesterday, but he didn't do his thing, man. Yo, DG, now the Rams have won the Super Bowl. Do you reckon we Arsenal are going to spend big in the summer? I don't understand the correlation, so I don't know. Obviously there's a train of thought. Okay, Kroenke's won the thing. Kroenke's won the thing. He might want to invest a bit more in the club, but the two aren't interlocked. Like, he actually gives a hell about NFL. Like, you're seeing him talk, you're hearing him talk. You don't hear that. He puts his son out, and before his son, it was a myth. We read an article the other day. Did it not say he's not been here to the Emirates since 2018? I hope there's a switch, and there's heart and whatnot, but I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't bet on it at all, people. I wouldn't bet on it at all, really and truly. Which is crazy, man. I'm not really with it. Obviously, Mason Mount picked up a knock. Speaking of injuries, just to go with Trippier in the World Club Cup final for Chelsea. Mason Mount to have scan on right ankle after hurting ligaments. Anytime you hear ligaments, that's crazy. So yeah, I think it's not been diagnosed with what's going on. Tuchel has said he's going to have that. He said they both fell and his opponent fell on his ankle and he hurt his ligaments badly. So we'll see. He came straight to me and said he does not feel good. It felt painful. I like Mason Mount and just nobody likes to see anybody injured. On a serious note, where the Chelsea Palmeiras game is, RIP in advance. Man shot dead outside Palmeiras Stadium after fans rioted following Club World Cup final. Bloody hell, man. There were some outbreaks of fighting among fans, which unleashed a riot, and a man was shot. A military police statement confirmed. The police confirmed one man was arrested and will analyze images to identify others involved in the riots. So yeah, that's that one where you hope he's all right. Obviously, Martinelli's yellow card is something that's made a lot of rumours. FA are considering Continental Cup yellow card rule change. The FA is considering changing at what stage yellow cards will be reset in the Women's Continental Cup. Wow. When I read this on BBC, it made a correlation between Martinelli, but yeah, that's affecting the ladies' game. Trippier's having x-rays and it's been confirmed his foot is bust. What's Brendan Rodgers said? This ain't new. Sorry, folks. This ain't new. Sorry, forget Brendan Rodgers. This is an article I was reading already. Let's see what else the Athletic has on them. Oh, there it is. I swear, big up J.A. Are you mad? You guys still have hope that Kroenke is going to upgrade Arsenal from side chick to main chick. Trust. Kroenke doesn't spend his money. He spends the fans' money. Not necessarily true, but boy, in Kroenke's defense, I do like in theory what he's doing again, not how it's been implemented at Arsenal, but they seem to bet big on a young coach and all these things. It does sound wavy, but fundamentally, the man has to care. If Arsenal were to win Champions League, I genuinely think he wouldn't attend. If Arsenal were to get into another Champions League final, I think Josh Kroenke will come. Not that we're ever going to get in it, but I don't think Stan would be there. Really and truly. We're not his, like I said, we're not even his side chick. We're just a thing, If we were a galley, which some of you are, we're just flinging ourselves on him, and then we're out asking him to change. We knew what it was, He don't give a shit about us, boys. You see the halftime show, they were lit, man. Apparently Eminem, people tried to stop him doing the knee or something. Big up my guy 50, is what it is. I know this is a push, but can we get third? Bro, right now, focus. Let's focus on getting fourth. You know, let's focus. I mean, let's see. If Chelsea drop more points when they come back into league action and make things difficult, anything can happen. But let's focus, man. Let's focus. Bro, Kroenke was naming all the Rams players. Bro, you think he knew about Aubameyang? You think when that contract, Arteta getting a contract thingy, who is that? You think when Aubameyang won, you think when Aubameyang and Arteta won the FA Cup, I genuinely think Kroenke didn't have a face-to-face FaceTime with them. Come on, man. Yeah, let's forget all of that, man. It's a myth. No one's catching Chelsea. Exactly. We're all tired, man. And plus, chest is high, bro. No one can't be looking at them and there. I've already spoke about this, but the team that's fourth right now is the favourites. The team that have done better than Arsenal over 18 months. I know, let's be honest, Wolves are in the shout, but it's only going to make headlines if Arsenal, United, sadly, Spurs, these sort of teams, even Leicester people, the papers are still, Leicester are doing woeful. They're still being spoken about being the thing in the race as well. But big up yourself, first time viewer as well. But boy, I wouldn't say favourites until I can. And what would make me favourites? Prove you can get 3 points in difficult games, which was Wolves. Which I would say Wolves going into it. Wolves, Villa, and Leicester. Even though Villa and Leicester were poor at the time, fans were saying, "Yo, we need to win that." Other than that, this season, all Arsenal have done is, it sounds dumb, but win game. Unlike we did, it's only Arsenal fans will get in it. Like, we've won games we need to win in, or supposed to win, with the exception of Burnley. We did what we needed to do against Leeds at their place, Norwich at their place, Norwich home and away, these sort of things, with the exception of Burnley. You can't do it all the time. As I said, Crystal Palace dropping points, Brighton away, not being in the game from the start. United, whether it's 3 points, 1 point, not walking away with anything there. Definitely the way Everton have been, not walking away with anything there, especially when we're winning from a winning position. Frustrating draw against Burnley, and there's probably some other things. So I wouldn't know that. I wouldn't know about any of that. I can't say we're favourites. Maybe if we go to St Mary's, if we go to Stamford Bridge, if we go to White Hart Lane, if we welcome United, if we do well against Brighton at home, if we travel to Selhurst Park, if we do well in these sort of games, then these are the games where I've already said it. You lot can go back to whenever in August when we do the Arsenal, when Arsenal's fixtures get released and we react to it on one of my streams. I'm sure if you go all the way back, you would see me look out for these teams. Like, look out for the Palaces, the Brightons, all of these teams beyond the obvious. And as much as, how can you say favourites? We've got one win this year. And if I really microscope the thing, we won against Wolves. We weren't good. We got over the line. We weren't good. Yeah, 10 men. We managed the game. Well, we weren't good. We didn't work the keeper. We didn't play our football. We were presented with a goal. 9 times out of 10, Arsenal do that to others. We were better in the defeat to Man City. Such is the Premier League. You can play amazing and lose, or play probably shit and obviously not get something away from it. And when you look past the euphoria, we weren't good. Our form hasn't been terrible, but we're not really doing much. We're not. Our strikers still aren't bagging. We're handed that goal by Wolves. Big up us. Big up Lacazette and Ben White, and obviously Gabriel. Gabriel's had more shots in the league than our 2 strikers. He's got 3 goals, more goals than Jadon Sancho, but definitely more goals than Nketiah, and he's drawing with Lacazette. So this don't make me favourites. I look at them, man. They got Bowen. Who's our top goal scorer? Smith Rowe. He's learning how to score goals. He's not a goal scorer like that. He's not been around the block. Respectfully, I don't know for favourites. We're in a fight with everybody. Let's see what's going in it. Like, let's just see what's going. I don't know any other way of putting it like that. I would love to sit here and gap to you lot about being favourites, but I don't know where. It just feels like I've woken up this morning. I've seen Arsenal are now favourites. Like, really and truly. In fact, I'm lying. I woke up to yesterday. Arsenal are favourites. I know other teams dropping points, but Arsenal fundamentally still have to be able to take them. United and Spurs can drop as much points as they want. Arsenal need to be able to eat Brentford. I want revenge on them. Me, I'm looking at the home form. I know away we've done all right, but home form. That's what's going to make or break this thing. We'll have to see, man. We need goals all over the pitch, chipping in now. Oba's gone. Trust. And even when Aubameyang was here, he weren't scoring. Top 4 race is the hobos who fights outside the bookies, something like that. Arsenal and Burnley both fouled over 1,000 times. Burnley 0 red cards. Arsenal 15 clear agendas. We've got more red cards than goals. Exactly. Just chill out, man. Listen, I don't know for that Salah stuff, man. The internet's been brazy, man. The internet's been brazy in the last 24 hours. There's been serious allegations brought across a footballer for being arrested for domestic abuse and things like that. Again, when proper info comes out, then we'll review about that. We have to be careful about things like that. And the Salah thing, where I saw Salah trending, I clicked the why his name was trending, signed out, man. I'm not involved in none of that. So yeah, man, it is what it is. Good month this one. Next month we'll crash again. I'm sticking to my prediction. Every other month we go in and out. Boy, we'll have to see. Where else have you looked? Said Mount been catching a couple of injuries recently. Yeah, he's been having a bit of a tough time. Don't know why, but might be one of them things. But I don't know, man. Brazy. Don't forget 4:30 Football Manager settings over here on Twitch, folks. And tomorrow, same time, 10 a.m. Footy Talk. Whatever comes up between now and tomorrow. Obviously, people, we need to remember it's Champions League business, so we will talk about the Champions League tomorrow. Don't really make sense about that now. If we look at some other, we can't look at anything if it scrolls all the way down there. David Ornstein on The Athletic. What has he said? Scrolling all the way up. What has he got here, people? Let me share my screen. Let's go over this. Manchester United's new hire. Jamaica wants Spence. Referee overhaul Liverpool tour. Apparently, The Athletic can reveal to appoint a deputy football director. They have therefore opted, The Athletic can reveal, this about Man United. I'm skipping to what the main part. To appoint a deputy football director who will work under Morton and help strengthen an increasingly prominent side of United's operation. So this just seems like more off the field incompetent dons being brought in. I'm saying incompetent. I don't know. I'm just going off the theme. The recruitment process is already believed to be at interview stage, with a number of options being spoken to and in the frame for a role that appears not too dissimilar with what the likes of Liverpool and Brighton and Hove Albion have done in recent times. Liverpool backed up Michael Edwards with Julian Ward, which is true, and Brighton used David Weir as a number 2 to Dan Ashworth. I think Dan Ashworth has now departed for pastures new, technically on gardening leave, but I think he's gone to Newcastle, if I remember correctly. So Newcastle again realised that as well as on field, they need the right off the field recruitments in positions, people. An exact timescale for the chosen candidate to be named is unclear and may depend on whether a notice period needs to be served if they are currently employed elsewhere. But United probably want to resolve as swiftly as possible, bearing in mind the magnitude of the summer that awaits. Ranić is scheduled to move from his job as interim to a 2-year consultancy role. So again, too many chefs spoil the pot. Obviously, they have to move from one man. But if you've got a director, a deputy director, a consultant he's just a consultant, so how much power he has, in theory, is minimal. But it's, as you know, it's a Game of Thrones thing, and there's probably a bunch of other roles and stuff. So it just seems like more muddied stuff, more politics, really and truly. So yeah, people. And as you know, Cavani, Lingard, and Pogba seem to be leaving at this moment in time. Jamaica moved to get Spence ahead of England. I would love it, but I know Spence is going to rub out and not play for us. Spence, you know the thing. You can be the best. Listen, you can get DG propaganda for life. You already see the way Antonio Bailey, Bobby Reed get treated. You need to do this. One of English football's standout performers this season is Spence, and the 21-year-old's progress at Nottingham Forest, who joined on loan from Middlesbrough last summer, has been linked with a permanent move to an array of sides in the Premier League and around Europe. He's made 26 appearances across all comps this season, people. And yeah, he was involved in Nottingham Forest dumping out Arsenal and Leicester in the FA Cup. His rise to prominence has reportedly generated interest from Arsenal, Tottenham, Inter Milan, and Roma, although Borough are in a strong position after the right-back signed a new contract before leaving the Riverside that ties him down until 2024. It's not only at club level where a battle for Spence's services could be developing, but on the international scene too. I mean, look how many, bro, you, James, Justin, all of you that are moving mad. There's too many duns, man. While the defender was born in London, his parents are of Jamaican descent, and the Athletic understands the Caribbean nation have made an approach to secure his allegiance. Who would you say is having a better season so far, Benny Blanco or Varane? Us. We're better, but our defensive structure is 10 times better than Man United. We're one of the best teams, sadly. Well, I say sadly because I still don't think we've improved that much. one of the best teams defensively. We've got a structure. United don't. So you can slap a prime Cannavaro or Van Dijk together because United don't defend properly from the striker and don't attack properly from their goalkeeper. They're rubbed. Ben White's having a better season, without a doubt. But anyways, Spencer's not yet represented England at any level. See, them man, they don't want you come and do this thing. Meaning that the path to turning out in Jamaican colours is clear if he opts to pursue it. Bro, get the man signed up, man. Come on. I was going gym, and you know what I was wearing today? It's crushed up, but come on, make the right decisions in life. Come on, Spence, man. As one fullback to another. Make the right decisions, man. Make the right decisions. Make the right decisions. You can live a comfortable life. But anyways, the Fulham Academy graduate is believed to be under consideration for England set up. The 21s may be more realistic. Realistically, I think he's going to pick England. But the FA will not pick multinational players purely to prevent them from committing to another country. We all know Yunus Musa and Musiala, who would have been lovely to have for England, have chosen other countries. Jamaica saw their hopes of reaching the 2022 World Cup dashed by a 1-0 defeat to Costa Rica. We go again. Late March, we're going to do our thing. So, yeah, Spencer's been linked with that. Premier League launch program to try and improve standard and diversity of referees. You lot do your thing, referees, man. You lot, whatever, innit? When you lot can start being nice to my team and just being fair to my team, I'll care. Liverpool to face Manchester United and Palace in July. Liverpool are in talks to play 2 lucrative pre-season friendlies against Manchester United and Palace in the Far East this summer, explains James Pearce. The Athletic understands that discussions are at an advanced stage for Jurgen Klopp's side to visit Thailand and Singapore in July. The plan is to take on United in Bangkok on July the 12th and then face Palace 3 days later. 2 more Chelsea coaches accused of racial comments in the 90s, and there's probably a bunch of others at clubs as well. Chelsea's decision to pay substantial damages to a number of former players has been a grim reminder of the racist culture that existed within the club's youth system in the 90s, you know. Anyways, today, however, the Athletic can reveal that 2 other members of staff from Chelsea from that time were accused of making racial comments, as well as these 2 pricks who I don't want to name because I don't want their names being spoken of. The 2 people whose alleged behavior towards young black footballers led to the club being sued. Crazy, man. A number of former players were understood to have been lined up to give evidence. This is how it was seen by many people within the club. Glenn Huddle, one of the managers in that era, had also been lined up as a witness, though it is not known what his take on this would. You know, he wouldn't talk up the things. Apparently, I'll speak about this more at 11:30, but Arsenal turned down the Cardi swap deal. I mean, we've already got enough dramas, haven't we, people? So, yeah, man, why would we want any more of that, really, realistically? Again, speaking of, on that topic of, you know, racism and all that sort of stuff, why does that sound like a geezer there? There was where is it? Les Ferdinand, you know, QPR, one of the best clubs when it comes to diversity, really. You know, there's hella black players. The more you start going up, I've always said it, you know, you could see, if you go for a 25-man squad, you'll see bare black players. But then when you look at who's involved in leadership groups or who the captains are, it starts getting smaller. You start looking at managers, you start looking at physios, you start looking at directors of footballs, technical directors, even what we just went on, even just when we went on already, people, with United employing some deputy director of football, the diversity doesn't reflect it. Somewhere like me as an Arsenal fan, you could list many black footballers and ethnic minority footballers and etc. You start going up the levels, like you look at the Arsenal boardroom, you look at half of it, it doesn't scream that diverse. Les Ferdinand criticizes the FA's initiatives as reports show glass ceiling for black coaches. I mean, look at what we live. We live in a day and age where, you know, respectfully, privilege can get you somewhere. You could never coach, have any ambitions. You could just spend your time talking on Gillette Soccer Saturday. Someone will present you with a role, really. Les Ferdinand Brands, who's probably the only black technical director, really, unless it's some other superstar. Les Ferdinand Brands, FA initiatives to improve coach diversity as all talking. Again, you know, the FA isn't a diverse organization, so there's not a personal mandate to improve. This is why there's tick box exercises. This is why I'm not getting at kick it out or anything, but the kick it out events, all these things, it's just feel good, do nothing. It don't like it. When you start looking at the levels and looking at things, it starts to paint a grim picture, if I'm completely honest with you. But yeah, he said there's still a glass ceiling for black coaches. Of course, there's still a glass ceiling for black players, really, you know. Some are not seen as being captains and inability to focus and all these sort of things. There's all these long-lasting prejudices within the game. The report found that although 43% of Premier League players are black, they represent just 14% of UEFA's known pro license holders who have graduated until the FA. So again, senior positions, we know this. The report also shows 4.4% of managerial positions usually taken up by former players are occupied by black employees. Just 1.6% of executive leadership and ownership positions are held by black people. Of course, I mean, it's like a lot of industries. The music industry is no different from this, you know. We need a voice for ourselves because we're just not being heard. And I hear you, Ferdinand, but it's like I said, when you look at, as the stuff I've been saying, when you look at the fact of ethnic minorities make up a tiny percentage of the people them in the UK. This is why we see what we're seeing, really and truly. It's dead, you know, and there's an unconscious privilege, you know. The very fact, I'm not saying Arteta or Lampard haven't put in work, but you know, Arteta's been given a whole propaganda campaign. You know, there could be, I'm not saying company is better than Arteta, but they could have the same philosophies. Before Arteta's done a damn thing, he's landed at one of the biggest jobs in the league in Arsenal. You know, whether he's fit for purpose is another thing. There's been a lot of propaganda about what he could be in the future, but then there's also an unconscious bias to assume players, black coaches can't. One thing I don't like about it is you could have 20 different white coaches. You know, if Pep wins the league and Dean Smith goes down, you're not going to say, well, that's why they don't get opportunities. If there's one black coach and he's robbed, because listen, obviously, if we lived in an ideal world where black, white, woman, whatever, the jobs are the jobs. If you're 30, there's going to be shit black coaches. There's going to be good ones, but some are not going to be robbed, you know, because the talent pool's there. I don't like the fact of one don comes through and that's it. Like if he was the pep thing, oh, we should let man through. If he fucks up, pardon my French, this is why he doesn't play. We need a voice for ourselves because we're just not being heard. We're not going to be heard. We don't own no clubs. You know, we're not in no proper positions. You know, Les Ferdinand, you're in a unique position at QPR. There's not, you know, the FA doesn't have a personal mandate. When you look at racism, the FA, you look at it, I'm not saying they haven't ever experienced discrimination, but it's not the most diverse at the base level, the meaningful level. It's not the most diverse. They haven't got personal stories of racism. That's why, as much as they bring out these videos and all these things, it's not a personal mandate. The same with all of this. If things were really attached to people's hearts, as you've seen, respectfully, not to go over it, but you've seen certain men were moving mad with their pets. You saw what happened to them. You know, you saw what happened to them, but this is it, man. This is it. You don't own nothing. You're not in prominent positions. You know, you don't own any football clubs. You're not prominent positions within UEFA, FIFA, any of these governing bodies. This is why things happen. Realistically, we're not in any high positions really in terms of media houses. This is why, you know, people are allowed to insinuate something with the way Dele Alli's dressed, or what's typically happened with Raheem Sterling, or sitting there and telling Rashford to focus on football. Like, rightly or wrongly, the man's not popping his shoulder back in and playing. Again, the way stories are being presented and stuff, it's because there's no ownership. And once again, we make up a very small percentage of folk here in the UK. So it's probably a fallacy, is respectfully. And this is why, for me, it makes me depressing. It's like ignorance is bliss. When your head's in the sand, this is why sometimes when I'm at these events, in isolation, it sounds great. Man are saying buzzwords, you know, again, black man, black woman, white man, every sorts of race. I've been in these buildings, race, religion, everything. Everybody's saying the right things, you know. If you're good enough, you should be able to do it. Let's do this and that. But once you leave the room, you know, all this it's like being in the changing room on a match. Once you gas up the man, and you go onto the pitch, well, go on for this thing. It doesn't matter. I just see this too much. Like on a Monday, we'll gas up the thing. Tuesday, what's going to happen? And people might try stuff. There are people that are trying and things. There's multiple things. There's you know, multiple other things. If I was to lay things at my own, I think there's a lot of black folk, because I've seen it just by making my little inroads within football, at media level and all these things. There's a lot of coons. Let's be real. There's a lot of black people that like to be the only black folk in the room, and they're as detrimental as people that are using privilege or don't want to see things, or people that not trying to change things. It's crazy. If I'm not successful at QPR as I want to be, for whatever circumstances, I'll never get another opportunity to do this job. Yeah, I see directors of football that have left one club, go to another, left one club, go to another. That's true. You know, how many times, you know, it's the old boys network. You know, I've been at events where a certain commentator has said, the reason why there's not a lot of black managers is because they don't play golf with the owners. And I get it. There's nepotism, there's the friend thing and whatnot. But from I'm hearing that, there's no need for me to be at these things, innit? Really. The FA keeps putting initiatives in, but it's all talking. I've been having this conversation about a glass ceiling for black coaches with the FA for 30 years and nothing has happened again. And there's going to be tick box exercises. There'll be one, I don't know the word, but golden boy. The FA eventually will throw their hat on someone and they'll become the poster boy, and that's it. And people will lap it up. But in the grand scheme of things, it'd be one like, I dream of it because there could be a random black youth that could be the next Pep Guardiola or the first black manager to win the Premier League or win Premier League as an Arsenal gaffer or whatever in it. It's crazy that the game we love, I can list you a million black footballers that played for Arsenal and whatnot. You start talking about directors and any position of power, even if you was to look at half of your clubs, the captains for this country, the way the captain's badge is looked at. Respectfully, obviously, Lacazette is leading it. Aubameyang had it, but you get the point generally within football. Shout out to Ramsey. This is one of the realest guys. Like I said, there's a lot of coons in football. This guy is so cool. I've actually had a conversation. I'm not going to say we're best mates. Paul Ince and whatnot. Again, Ferdinand said, we are losing generations and generations of talented young black footballers who come out of the game who have got something to offer. It's almost like we're allowed to love the game as players, but that's about it. We can be entertainers, but we're not allowed to be leaders. And that's just like everything. You look at the music game, who owns it? They're obviously black owned record labels and things, but they don't own it. You respectfully, all this drill and this rap thing is Tim Westwood. It's Tim Westwood, it's Mike Ashley's son. These men are the gatekeepers. You look at there's very few authentic platforms or platforms for the culture. It's a lot of people who are smart, see there's something, and there's a gatekeeper. Use from the ends to go put on the guy on Westwood. What does Westwood know about that? We got Westwood and that. I'm not getting at him, but you get the issue. This is the problem, and you see it in a lot of industries, not just football. Football mirrors society, as I always say. Society mirrors football. These are long-lasting issues, really and truly. I see the likes of Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard, and Wayne Rooney coming to the end of their careers, all great players in their time. Tony Adams and Steve Bruce, and everyone talks about what great managers they'll make because of the stellar playing careers they've had. I've seen Ian Wright, Rio Ferdinand, and Paul Ince coming to the end of their careers. They've never mentioned in the media in the same light. They've had stellar careers. It's partly the owners, but the owners listen to what the media say. They should be above that. Boy, it's an interesting debate, man. I know it's getting spoken at 11:30, but Rafael hype, bring him to the carpet. I feel you, my guy. I feel you. But yeah, man, on the racist thing, that's that, ain't it? I say racist thing, but it is what it is. I dream of a world where it's obviously this, whether you're black, white, you're the best person for the job, in it. Like I've always said, I don't want a job just because I'm black. Like obviously, if I happen to be wavy at my job and man's got wavy skin color as well, then that's a benefit. But I don't want to just be I've got it because I'm that. I've been in roles where I think that is the case and it doesn't feel nice. But at the same time, I dream of a world where that's the case, but it's a problem. I know people can say you can get wherever you want, we don't see color, but listen, to make out the world's colorblind, it would be quite disgraceful, really, and it is what it is. I mean, I said it's a game where it's not going to change, because even if you look at the top level again, there's many reasons as to why things happen, but you look at, is it Infantino, the FIFA president? Look at the way he spoke about African civilians, like people, just African human beings just living in the world, not footballers, just migrants and that. If that's the way he speaks, if he feels that way about Africa and Africans, why is he out there giving the medals? If he thinks that, what does he think about the tournament? The game's never going to change, man. It's never going to change, It's never going to change. It's always just going to benefit those. We love the game. That's where it stops, innit? Martinelli has been playing as a number 9 in training sessions at London Coley. Do you think Arteta should play this tactic when he's available? Hell yeah. Not like you got more, Lacazette's not going to score goals, but that would be mine. But, any problems with Lacazette, Martinelli through there. Really. That would be it. If your face fits, gets pushed in quicker, just like Arteta. But Lampard is a case of, for me, don't hate the player, hate the game. There's evidently a lot of privilege. He's again, there is a propaganda behind white players or becoming coaches. He's got his uncle. He got the Derby job based on nothing. He's even said he was winging it them times, and then he got the Chelsea job based on nothing he's done at Derby. And a mixture of who he was. And again, I'm not going to say he didn't do nothing at Chelsea, but he lost his role and he's landed on his feet at Everton. Rooney's doing quite well at Derby, but he's done his thing. Gerrard, obviously, for me, he done the Liverpool thing, then the Rangers job came. But you look how quickly it is. There's obviously times where white coaches, you look at Graham Potter, have had to come out to in, but typically that's just not how it works, does it? Really, you know, is what it is, man. There'll be one day, and at the same time, you can never let your skin color discourage you from doing something, and it's gonna be tougher. There is a black tax, but you got to keep going. But at the same time, I understand why people might just look and just say, "Fuck it, man. There's no point." Crazy. But yeah, man. Pardon me, it is where it is. You know, I think with that being said, I think that can wrap up this edition of, you know, our footy talk, people. So yeah, obviously, you know, 10 a.m. typically on Twitch, 11:30 on YouTube. Make sure you're following and subscribing. It's been a lovely one. We've obviously, you know, spoken about Arsenal's top 4 chances and things. Appreciative to you lot that are tuned in. Check out the rest of the content, not only on YouTube, but on obviously on Twitch. My Martinelli video, I couldn't even pull it onto YouTube. You're getting a copyright claim. Twitch would never. So Twitch is the home to be. Like I said, you know, collaborative content, watch alongs, Football Manager. We're there in it. Football Manager at 4:30 as well. If you're not going to see anything else, make sure you're following and subscribing. Appreciate you lot for being tuned in. You know, CeeLo, Cam, Tarns, Josh, G1, Jace, you know, in particular. Don't feel any sort of way. It's just, you know, them man are here and girl, Green Red. You know, here every 407 as well, here day in, day out. And again, I appreciate all the support. Without you lot, it's dead. Frankie as well, Source. If I didn't say your name, don't feel any sort of way in it. It's just appreciative. B, again, without you lot, this would be dead in it. And again, you know, I just want to once again say thank you, because especially on Twitch, we've been really pushing, trying to get to 10K on Twitch, obviously 50K on YouTube. You know, obviously we had a watch along with Chelsea yesterday. We, you know, Chelsea Palmeiras. We did Manchester United, Southampton. We even did that. We watched Atalanta versus Juventus yesterday. Vlahovic hype and whatnot. I mean, they said he ain't got general play. And there was rumors. I kept taking my Juventus shirt on and off according to what was happening in the game. But I don't know, man. Like I said, without you lot, it would be pointless, innit? And I'm very appreciative of you lot's support. It's Monday. So can we please make sure first and foremost we remain healthy? Without health, we can't do anything. So I'd love to wish that remains the case for you and your loved ones. Let's move that much closer to our goals, hopes, dreams, ambitions, and aspirations. Follow the thing, subscribe especially if you've got Amazon Prime. If you're not bored with the football chat and things like that, make sure you join me on YouTube at 11:30, people, where we'll speak about Borgia, we'll speak about Rafael, we'll talk about Arsenal, we'll talk about anything, people. Again, man, you lot I love Mondays, innit? And that's because of you lot. I'm doing what I love. You know, we're pushing, we're trying to get out there, we're trying to develop, we're doing what we're doing. But because of you lot, I'm in a position where I'm not where I want to be. Nothing's perfect, but I'm doing what I love. I remember when I used to wake up and hate Mondays. Like, I love it. Monday, Friday, they're all the same days for me. You lot see on YouTube, you see the mileage I clock up and Twitch. But it's because I love being here with you guys. And I hope you lot in whatever you're doing, whatever stage you're at, can say the same thing. But I'm getting all soppy on you lot, man. On that note, people, take care, stay blessed, have a good day, week, morning, afternoon, night, whatever. I'll catch you lot in a bit.
Because you always use that active red light, defending.
I think it's like